had a little bit of a hiccup with the stream. It looked like uh, dropped a bunch of frames and disconnected. So anyway, but point is, we will be back for the next race, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. GMT. For anyone who needs time conversions, anything else, any time zones outside of that, I'm not your mother. You can work from those, I think. I give you GMT. That should be enough. But yeah, we'll be back for that in just about a half an hour's time. May or may not hop in and do some practice warm up in between. Kind of depends on how I'm feeling and what else I kind of want to get accomplished in the next half an hour here. But for the meantime, again, stream's gonna be live for the afternoon. Um, Definitely feel free to hop in. Happy to answer questions or anything like that. In the meantime, I am gonna be stepping away for just a moment here. But if I don't come back for some practice, then I will see you guys in just about 30 minutes time when we go live for the next race. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in chat or anything like that, and I will see them and we'll get to that. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Alrighty, so registration for the 3 p.m. race just about to open up.
Registration for the 3 p.m. race just.
Yeah, really bad practice to have my stream open while I try and have unmute my mic. As I was saying, registration for the 3 p.m. Race just opened up, so we're gonna hop in and do a little bit of practice, a little bit of warm up, basically just before the race starts again. Trying to just really get a grip on these new tires. Trying to, really starting to identify, I think, some weaknesses or some issues with my driving style. It's something I've kind of been saying a few times really throughout, really since I've started, since the new tire V7 came to the Formula 3, but it's really starting to highlight, I think, that I can be a little too aggressive on them, or basically I take too much life out of them too quickly, and then they fall off by the end of the race. And with the older tire models, that really wasn't as visible. It wasn't as much of an issue, I guess. But it really is starting to play a factor now, and it's something that is really going to start to become important. So it's a skill that I really need to focus on and improve. Just that feel for the tires, that trying to take it a little bit easy on them, conserve when you can, so you can attack when you need to. I will say again, I think there still needs to be a little bit more work done to the tire model. It's still not perfect, and I don't think anyone would say it is. Even the iRacing devs, will tell you that there's still quite a lot of work to be done, especially with conditioning. Hence why we're running with the why we have tire warmers right now.
Radio check. Spotter, radio check.
To try and mitigate some of that that conditioning issue. The scrubbing in of the tire, where basically you have this racing slick, a very smooth surface that actually needs a slight bit of abrasion to it. It needs to kind of get scrubbed in to be able to get the optimal grip level on the surface, and it's taking too long for that to happen right now. So there, again, that's kind of why we've iRacing has given us the tire warmers to kind of simulate warm-up laps that might otherwise have accounted for that, but it's still not perfect. But the thing is, I really can't lay the blame at the feet of the tire model for the most part. I mean, a little bit, yes, it still isn't perfect.
Pit exit's clear.
Most of the problem is, again, I'm not taking care of them properly. Because again, really, I think up until now, we haven't necessarily had to quite as much. It hasn't been quite as important with the older tire model. So it's something that I'm sure I'm not alone, and we all have to kind of develop that skill. But I think with these new tires, the drivers who really can master that are going to see some really great results. They're really going to benefit from it, and those who can't, including myself for right now, are really going to struggle, and I definitely have, especially second and third laps.
P9
are almost more difficult than the first lap, because the first lap, you're definitely taking it easy. Everyone's bunched up. It's very easy to not overwork them. But lap 2,
sector 1 is 0.3 off the pace.
A little bit more, at least I do, and I think I've been pushing a little bit too far too soon. In keeping a tradition, at least last night, of second lap crashes into the outside wall at a kill. Just trying to go be a little too aggressive with their too much speed before the tires are ready for it.
P7, you're currently 0.9 off the pace.
Exactly.
You need to find a 10th in sector 3.
Almost like clockwork on lap 2 when I was on the race that I did last night. So far I haven't managed to do it today. Fingers crossed. That will remain the case, but I should not have said that. I really shouldn't have said that. Why do I say that?
Sector 2 is 0.4 off the pace. The guy in front has just done a 42.9.
Just giving up. The tires just kind of give up right at that little edge at the very end. At the difference, it's just not quite.
That puts you.
Car right, clear right.
Quite. There you go. A couple laps couple good clean laps, they're, you know, they get up to temperature and they're pretty good from that point. But you really
You're
have
10th off in sector 1.
It's something you actually have to pay attention to, much more than we ever have, I think, in iRacing. And I say that Cindy's very happy, honestly, to have.
You're 2/10 off the pace in sector 2.
To have that complexity, to have something, you know, the tires be that realistic and that complexity, you really do have to pay attention to them and take care of them, decide when you want, you know, when is the best time to
P4, that's your fastest lap today. Sector 3 is a 10th off the pace.
Some liberties with the tires. If you do it all the time, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I won't claim it as original thought, but, you know, progressive driving has a history. Remember, it's a gun that's absolutely the case. You know, you really can't.
Sector 2 is 2/10 off the pace.
On the limit every lap for an entire race distance. Even a sprint race like this, I mean, a little bit more up to a 10-minute race where you really can.
That's your quickest lap in this session. You're now 0.2 off the pace. Sector 3 is 0.1 off the pace.
You will notice differences from the beginning of the race to the end, even in a 10-minute sprint like this. And you know, once
Sector 1 is 0.2 off the pace.
The rest of the service, you know, once like the special events, the endurance races, 8, 10 to 24-hour races are running this compound, it's really
Sector 2 is 0.6 off the pace.
You know, how people react to it. It's really going to have to start bringing something to the endurance races in particular that I feel like it's kind of been missing for a long time now. And that's strategy.
Sector 3 is 0.2 off the pace.
Has only ever been one viable strategy in, you know, say Le Mans 24-hour in iRacing, and that's, you know, everybody takes tires at the same time, you either double stint or don't, depending on, you know, the car. Essentially, if you can put tires while refueling, you take tires every stop. If not, you probably double, maybe triple stint the tires. But there's not a whole lot of variability in the strategies there that, you know, you can kind of try and use to your advantage to play strategic games and try and get that way. It's something that people have been missing, which is what I'm very excited to see happen. But that's a long way off. So basically, again,
you're 2/10 off the pace in sector 3.
Really smooth here with my inputs. Really not trying to scrub the tires too much, too hard. Particularly not too soon, because again, they'll remember. If you really, you know, are hard on them right at the beginning of the race, they're going to remember that, and to put it one way, really, they'll hold it against you. That's the thing. Is basically, tires will hold a grudge. They will. These tires will hold a grudge. If you are mean to them right from the get-go, they'll remember. And they will punish you for it.
That was at 42.4.
But the thing that I'm really noticing, again, it's really
P5.
to shape the confidence.
You're a 10th off the pace in sector 1.
You know, when you're not certain of what kind of grip levels you face and what kind of grip tires we provide you, it tends to build that confidence in the car that you really need to be able to drive on the limit. You know, you need to trust in the car, in the tires, in the aero, in the grip. You need to just trust it, especially in the downforce. Right? You need to trust it to stick, especially in the place here, like Paddock Hill. If you don't really trust,
sector 3 is 0.6 off the pace.
You're gonna win. And it's going to cost you so much time from hesitating. That hesitation can cost you so much time.
Sector 1 is 0.3 off the pace.
It's really all about commitment here too. And it's punishing me. I'm definitely seeing you know, some negative effects from it because I'm not 100%.
Sector 2 is 0.3 off the pace.
So I'm being a little cautious and trying to feel it out. And I think that's going to come obviously just with time at a time. Specifically, you know, maybe getting a feel for the tires to be able to know.
Sector 3 is 0.4 off the pace.
What kind of grip to expect and have the experience to trust it that when it feels like, okay, it feels like I can go
Sector 1
flat
is
out,
0.8 off the pace.
100% through Catakill, then, I need the experience to feel that to begin with, and the experience to basically trust that ability to go, okay, I can do this, don't think about it, don't worry about it, just do. Just with more, you overthink stuff like this, and that's really where you get moving too quickly. You don't have time to think about where to brake or how much to brake or to turn.
6th place. Sector 3 time is fast.
And really, self-help racing therapy, there's your lesson for the moment at least. It's not overthinking. It's the classic analysis paralysis basically.
The guy ahead's last lap time is a 42.1.
In racing terms here, you spend too much time thinking about where you're braking.
Okay, Zach, 10 minutes of fuel remaining.
By the time you come to the decision, you're past the braking point, you missed it, and now you've got a problem. Or
P7, you're now 1.1 seconds off the pace. Sector 3 is 0.4 off the pace.
How much you should be slowing, and so you basically hold yourself back. So
Sector 1 is 0.4 off the pace.
I really think can be applied to life in general. Really make some strong parallels there. And I really think it's something that, at least, I won't speak for anyone else, but for me, it's something I do. There's a lot of areas in my life that I need to improve on.
You've used half your fuel. P5, that's your best lap in this session. You're 10th off the pace in Sector 3.
There are lots of other remedies for that you can explore and that you should. If anyone is experiencing anything like that, I encourage you to reach out and try and get the help that you might need.
Sector 1 is 0.8 off the pace.
As I laugh here, as much as I always hate recording my
Clear
time,
right.
one thing he's very, very fond of saying, especially to us when we were kids.
Sector 2 is 0.4 off the pace.
Knowing you're doing are two different things. Knowing you're doing are two different things. So, you might know that you need to make a change, you need to do something, not good at something, but
you're currently 1.3 seconds off the leader's pace. Your last lap time was at 42.6.
Thinking that it needs to change or acknowledging, knowing that it needs to change is not enough. It's the first step, sure.
Sector 1 is 0.4 off the pace.
And that's really what this whole racing therapy thing is kind of about for me. I'm sure I'm not alone in this. With sim racing, it's very easy, and I find myself very easily kind of falling into this pattern of, not really, just not, especially with depression, when you just don't feel like doing things that you normally enjoy.
That's your fastest lap. That puts you 0.6 off the pace.
And then, so of course that skill degrades pretty rapidly if you don't use it. So you finally one day work up the courage and muster up the energy, come back to it, and then very quickly get frustrated because I'm not as fast or not as good a driver as I was before I stopped because I've been practicing a long time. So I get frustrated, and so I go down and sim race for a while. And so
Sector 2 is 0.4.
Right side, clear right.
That was lucky. But yeah, you don't do it for a little while, so the skill degrades. So then you come back to it, not as good, so you get frustrated. So you don't race for a little while, so the skill degrades more, and it's a very easy downward.
The guy behind has just done a 41.9 P5.
In racing or in life, again, all of this is really can be extrapolated and can be applied to a much greater philosophy than just racing. But it's very easy to fall into that trap.
That's 20 minutes to go.
That's partly what this is about for me too. It's just give me a reason, giving me a commitment to doing it, to hop in the car, do a little bit of practice every day, even if it's only 15, 20 minutes. Do at least a couple of races a week. I'm trying to commit to, my original intention is to commit to a full season of Formula 3. That hasn't quite panned out. This last week, it didn't really get enough practice in, and especially when
2/10 off the pace in Sector 3.
And then I actually don't own Donington Park, and just not really, frankly, just not in a position to spend the money on a track right now, unfortunately. So hence why I'm here doing the Formula Sprint Fix Series, and why I was racing the Open Formula 3 Series. But after this week at Donington, I forget where goes. I honestly forget, but I am planning to do the rest of the season. But either way, just again, that goal, that commitment, or reason to hop in and do practice 15-20 minutes a day at least, and try and do.
You're now 1.7 seconds off the pace. Sector 3 is 0.4 off the pace.
Is something that's really helpful to me in racing.
On your right,
Number
clear
one,
right.
it's going to actually let me practice and keep the skills up and hopefully improve them. But again, just kind of that work ethic, that lesson that I need to kind of apply to other areas and aspects of my life. That is that just really, to put it simply, just do it. Just do something. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be amazing.
Okay, Zach, we estimate you've got 5 minutes of fuel remaining.
Just do something. Don't just anything more than zero.
You're currently 2.0 seconds off the leader's pace. Sector 3 is 0.6 off the pace.
And again, if you want to track it a little bit further, life tends to reward
Sector 1 is 0.6 off the pace.
Doesn't necessarily have to be right, perfect happen or even not all the time. You're not going to get anywhere like that. You have to at least try. And
Sector 2 is 2/10 off the pace.
that's something that I struggle with very, very much. I really have no shame in admitting. I'm very kind of all too easy really to come up with
That puts you 0.7 off the pace. That lap was a 42.0.
Something or starting something or getting off the couch and doing anything. And so this is really it's something.
Sector 1 is 0.8 off the pace.
And to start taking a little bit of charge and a little bit of responsibility and trying to just change that pattern of behavior and be a little more willing to go out there and do something or try something or at least do 15-20 minutes of practice. If you're not really doing more than that, fine.
You need to find a 10th in Sector 3.
Don't do nothing. It's a concept called non-zero days. No matter what you do on any given day, even if you don't accomplish anything, do at least something more than zero. Give you something that at least I sat around and did nothing today, but at least I cleaned the kitchen. That's one thing at least I accomplished today. It was a complete waste. It may not be much, but anything that is. That's really the biggest. That's the biggest symbol I'm trying to do.
2 litres remaining. Sector 3 is a 10th off the pace.
The funny thing is really easy that can apply in so many different ways, and all of them positive, really. All of them helpful. Just doing it at all is not.
Sector 1 is 0.5 off the pace.
Had a crash and far back and not doing well. Finishing the race is better than not finishing the race. Last place is better than
Sector 2 is 0.2 off the pace.
And even more than that, a DNF is better than a DNS. Even if you crash out or you get disqualified from
2 minutes of fuel remaining. P6.
It's better than not starting at all.
You're a 10th off the pace in Sector 3.
It's better than not starting at all. It's better than not doing the race at all. And none of this is really original.
Sector 1 is 0.5 off the pace. Alright, Zach, 15 minutes left. That's 15 minutes.
Should is the operative word there. That's the fun of this. Like I said, knowing and doing are two different things.
Sector 2 is 0.6 off the pace.
It makes sense to you. You understand it, but
Watch your speed limit in the pits.
different things. You actually have
Box
to
in 4, 3,
try and apply the
2,
lessons. Learning
1.
is one thing.
Box
but
now.
Don't do anything if you don't apply it. So, all right, here we are. just about getting ready for the race. So gonna hop in. Not really, I never bother doing the warm up in race sessions, but we'll hop in for quali. 2-lap qualifying here. Try to do all right. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. These races really, especially the rating level I'm at, the strength of field that I'm running in, very hit or miss. If they go okay, they go okay. If they go poorly, they go horrendously. So we're gonna see what happens here just a little bit, I guess. But hopefully it's not too bad. And again, no matter how badly it goes, it doesn't matter. Just finish the race. Just finish the race. Especially here, it's a 10-minute race. You've got a factor there. There's no excuse for rage quitting this one. At least finish the race. But really, just in general, I mean,
Checkered flags out. B6.
At this point in my driving or sim racing career, really, my goals are, I always like to try and set basically 3 goals for anything, easily achievable, basically like a default goal, a regular goal, and kind of a stretch. So for me, in order, those are: number 1, finish the race; number 2, beat my number; and number 3, finish in the top half of the field. Just because the way things, you can't always predict. Numbers 2 and 3 are kind of interchangeable sometimes, depending on what my race number actually is. So let's see, for example, here, number 10 out of 17. So top half is going to be 9.
That's a new fastest lap for Daniel, 42.4.
Number 1.
The leader has just done it, 41.7.
Beat my number, at least place 10. Number 2, try and finish in the top half and the top 9. If I was number 4, for example, those goals would be switched, of course, so they make sense. But anyway, we're just about ready here. Warm-up should be closing fairly soon, next minute or so. I'm going to step away just for 1 minute here and get a quick drink. There's checkered flag right before qualifying starts. So, 2-lap calling, pretty standard iRacing player here. That's work. It's weird. Someone gave me
All clear. Push now. Okay, Zach. We've got 2 laps to get the job done,
I'm not
mate.
really certain if they're actually advantageous for, trying to condition the tires or work them up. I mean, obviously it does scrub them a bit and definitely dumps a bunch of heat into the rears, but I'm not certain if it's going to make too much. Really not an expert on that. Trying as much, not even, like I said, not even as much about heat at this point, especially because we do have the tire warmers. Just a little bit of scrub, trying to condition them so that they surface the grades just a touch, so they actually can, make good contact and melt it really quick. First lap here, of course, always bank on 2-lap qualifying, bank for lap first, always. Nice, calm, smooth, safe lap, so that when I push on the second lap, if I continue to make a mistake going off track, I have at least set a qualifying time, and guarantees me a spot above those who don't qualify and don't set clean laps. I'll get a good start here. It's alright. Thank you lap in, trying to keep it balanced then. Again, really, these tires are not great for qualifying unless you
P3
can get them up quickly. I guess we'll have a big advantage in these 2-lap qualifiers since again you have no time to get the tires at the temperature to get them scrubbed in, to get them working properly. So those can quicker than others. I really like this approach. That is, I'm not in that group, obviously. I'm the one who will take this advantage here. Didn't need to improve. Oh, I did. By 0.02 of a second. Oh, that's something at least. 42.2. Yeesh, yeah, not great. 8th right now. It could be. I mean, I qualified ahead of my number, so that's something, I suppose. That's definitely something, but still not quite where I'd like to be. But you know, that's again, especially here, especially in this kind of strength of field and everything, it's not really super important, I suppose, in terms of qualifying position, but we'll see what happens. I mean, definitely far below, you know, my real pace here, or my best pace, I should say, at least. You know, 41.5s, 41.6 is where I kind of should be, so it should have been the, you know, top 4, top 5-ish. But I've been kind of, it takes me a little while to get up to really be able to put in those kind of times. So this is really what I was talking about. I mean, guys like that who are basically able to, I can do a 41.5, 41.6, you know, after a couple of laps, and when the tire's really, you know, into ideal range. But guys like this, you know, who are basically able to ring those kind of times out in a lap or two, you know, on fresh tires, that's really impressive, I gotta say, and it's definitely a skill I need to start trying to master myself. But we got about 30 seconds left here before we grid up. Just take a moment here, get myself all collected and ready to go.
That's the end of the session, P9.
All right, so finished up P9. So not terrible. I mean, like I say, if I can finish where I start, then it's a decent result for me. It's the top half of the field. It beats my car number. I'll be happy enough with that. I'd like to get back to where I was, you know, last season in the proper Formula 3 series. You know, I was winning races here against equal or higher strength fields on the full franchise circuit, and now I'm, you know, happy with, you know, 8th, 9th, 10th on the Indy circuit. You know, there's definitely been some changes to the tire model, and yeah, I'm feeling it. But again, one of those changes really I've taken to waiting to grid. Don't know if it really actually has any impact or not, frankly, but my thought is basically just why sit on the grid for 2 minutes, letting those tires cool off even more. You know, they do come out with tire warmers when you join the grid now, so you might as well wait till kind of later on, kind of as late as possible, I guess, to join the grid. So hopefully they stay as warm as possible. I don't really know if that honestly is long enough to have any impact or not, but it makes me feel better, so jump in just long enough.
The air temp is 26 Celsius, 10 minutes. You'll need to get on with this. E9, the track temp is 42 Celsius.
In this fixed series.
Okay, Zach, be ready.
Starting in the leaders line, so that's nice. Trying to get as much, work the tires as much as I can. Less about actually generating heat, really, and more about just trying to scrub them a bit. something I'm not quite certain is actually modeled in iRace, but trying to ride the brake a little bit to use some of that brake heat to heat the inside of the tire, heat the rims a bit. But alright, here we go, getting ready. Back up here.
Go, go, go!
Oh, that's really a decent start.
Blue flag.
Inside there, watching the contact ahead.
It's a big mess in Druids.
It's good at the start. Nice and easy here. Until the tires can go up the time to get on the spec and get happy.
There's an incident in Graham Hill Bend, B6.
Really just stay up that inside curve there.
There's an incident in Surtees. Okay, Zach, hold your nerve, just keep it smooth, no mistakes. Incident in McLaren.
No, you stay with these guys. Stay with these guys. Stay with him.
Incident in Paddock Hill.
Start coming up. Let's try and again try and work on feeling and learning these tires. Try and conserve a little bit here at the beginning. And I feel like a lot of people, especially with something new, are going to be trying to push. Introduce a little bit of strategy here and try and set myself up for, the latter few laps of the race. The 10-minute sprint is not really certain how much effect it's going to have, but it
Sixth
does have
place.
some. Up to P6. Nice start. Not to think too much of it. Go ahead. Focus ahead. Look far up the track. Vision, I mean, is a huge problem, I think, for a lot of racers, simulation and otherwise. You really need to look as far up the track as you can. Again, like lessons, focus, look to the future, focus ahead of you, not what's right in front of you. Not, at least not necessarily just on what's right in front of the face. Trying to look a little bit further.
Car left. Still there. Clear left.
Come on, Zach. Nicely done.
I should really let him say that. It sounds bad while I'm complimenting myself. That's fun. Don't worry about what's behind me.
Just ignore him, he'll go away.
Don't worry about the past. And focus on what's behind you. Focus on the future. Focus on what's ahead.
P5. There's an incident in Druids.
Actually, it's real exit, like the ground strikes, basically. Ground and curve strikes. Not the end of the world, but especially in the damage model now, you do have to pay attention to it a little bit. If you have too much or too hard, you can actually
That's 5 minutes to go, 5 minutes. Come on, keep digging. That's half distance, the fuel's okay.
Probably.
P4, the gap in front is now 2.4 seconds.
I started basically kind of playing around with brake bias a little bit. I find that moving it a little forward helps at the beginning of the skid when these tires are still.
The gap to Adistan behind is now 2.1 seconds.
And then you start to wind it back a little bit more towards the leader as the grid comes up. I'm going to keep going now, though. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Or you would be nice. And I think perfectly possible. Fast enough to do it. If I'm not mistaken, that's a lap car. Next one. Crossing 2 of that time though, so fine. Doesn't hold me up. Hopefully being good. Gain on third. Think about it. Read another. Eyes up. Eyes up, head down. Doesn't make a lot of anatomical sense, but whatever. Off that inside curve.
There's an incident in Paddock Hill. 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes.
See, and now he's almost coming into.
Incident in Clearways. It looks like Daniel.
That seems a little dangerous. A little bit. Not going to think about it. Not going to worry about it. Try and get as laps as I can.
Right side, clear right, on your right, clear right.
God damn it!
P5.
Yep. Yep, damage. It's not his fault, he's slower car, he's a lap down, but he has just as much a right to the track in the race line as I do. I came into him, or not came into him, but I went off
Box in 5, 4,
My mistake.
3, 2, 1. Box now.
Got for quick repairs, fast repairs, whatever it's called.
Your exit is clear. Watch the white line, P8.
Oh, and of course it's literally on with 1 lap to go.
There's an incident in clear ways.
So
Looks
no
like
chance
it's
to make that
Daniel.
time back. God damn it. Ugh. That's my mistake though. I can't blame him. Fuck.
Daniel is pitting from P11. He should come out close in front of you.
On your left. Clear left.
1 more to go.
I mean, I'll still take a 7th at P7 here still. It's all 3 of my goals and it's still a decent result. I'm mad at myself. Stupid mistakes.
It's a big pile up in Paddock Hill.
Stupid mistakes.
Seventh position. That's the end of the race. We'll get him next time.
Well, not really quite how I wanted that to go. But yeah, I mean, still okay. All in all, it's a good result. I'll take it. I can't be too upset. I mean, like I said, I hit all 3 of my goals. That I ended up beating my car number and finishing the top half of the field. To give up a 4th place like that, though, for a stupid mistake of mine is a little frustrating. So I mean, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. Certainly, but the hardest things, mistakes to get over, or the hardest. How do I phrase this? The hardest thing to get over really is something like that, when it's not, when it's 100% your fault, when basically I know that I could have easily done better. I, am completely responsible for making a mistake, and it basically, it's not, it's one thing when some idiot hit you and, there's nothing you could do about it, or, something like that, when it's completely not your fault, it's not your fault, and it's just, it's easy to say, all right, well, hey, it sucks, but at least it wasn't my fault. I did everything I could. I was doing the right thing. That's not the case here. So, quick analysis, I guess. So yeah, start with the good. Obviously, good start. Did well at the start. Got a good run on the rolling start, so that was nice. Avoided the carnage and the chaos at the beginning. That was good. And made my way all the way up to P4. So that's a really great result there, and definitely some good driving, I think, from me, and that's something I'm happy with. I'm a little proud of. Bad side, of course. Stupid mistakes, man. Again, lapped car. I was really trying to push to try and get past them so that I could attack for the podium, and just I was coming a little too close. I mean, I didn't hit him, thank God, which I'd rather take myself off the track like that than have ended his race. But again, I can't. You can't really be mad at him. Yeah, he's a lapped car, and yes, he's slower than I am, but he's got as much a right to the track and the racing line as I do. This isn't Formula One, where blue flags are actually enforced. They're just a warning, a caution. They're informational, basically, in all other series. So especially in iRacing, blue flags are informational, not official. So he's not obligated to get out of the way or to give up a position to me just because he's a lap down. He's as much a right to be on that line as I do. And again, as the overtaking car, it's my responsibility to do so safely and to avoid a collision, which avoid a collision, yeah, I definitely did that. Not so much on the overtake part, but as much as my my instant reaction is to want to blame him and what an idiot and how come he didn't like I said he's got a right to be there too, and I'm one at the end of the day. I'm the one who locked up the brakes and went off the track, so not his fault. Not his fault at all. That's 100% on me. That was basically an unforced error, and those, like I said, those are the hardest ones I think to deal with sometimes, because that, I mean, on the one hand, it's good because that there's actually something you can improve and do better, as opposed to something completely out of your control where there's literally nothing you can do. At least I have something I can work on and try and improve for next time. But at the same time, I can't blame anybody else. I can't pass the buck at all. I have to take responsibility for that, and that's the harder thing to do, is to sit there and go, okay, well, yeah, that was my fault. I fucked up. So really, all you can do is try and analyze what you did wrong and what you should have done instead, and what you should do next time, or how you can be better. So what I did wrong, really, like I said, just being a little too aggressive, following a little too closely on a car that I didn't really need to fight. I probably could have, found a way past on a straight maybe, or, tried to draft him down the straight and pass him into Paddock Hill or something like that, where it would have been a little bit easier to just basically kind of show him a nose, and ideally he would kind of, wouldn't really fight it being a lap down. He'd just, let me through on the inside. So, that's the big takeaway, really. It's just, that's the biggest thing I think I can work on for next time. That being said, I think I'm starting to get to grips with these tires a little bit more. No pun intended. Starting to come to terms with them, starting to figure out how to work them a little bit better and how to take care of them a little more, and really just how to feel the grip levels. I'm still really not confident in them, especially at the beginning of a stint, which really doesn't serve me well at all in these in 2-lap qualifiers, because again, you need to have that confidence. You need to be able to push them hard from the beginning and just get out there and do the times. And it's clearly possible. People are doing 41s in qualifying, so it can be done on the first or second lap out of the pits. It is possible. It can be done. I have to kind of get to a point where I can do that as well, and I'm not so worried about cold tires and basically being way too cautious with them. And of course balancing that with you don't want to push too hard and still be aware of the fact that they are cold and you are going to have to take it a little bit easy, especially on that first that out lap and even potentially that first flying lap. So still a decent result. I'm not too terribly unhappy with it. It's certainly far from the worst that's happened at Brands Hatch in this season so far. But definitely still have some things that I can work on and improve, which is always good. I mean, you always need something. There's always something you can do better. There's always something you can improve on, and that's really the biggest takeaway from this. I think it's just that's something I should work on, is again just the tires and being a little bit more patient, maybe, or a little bit more cognizant of when and where to really attack or push a car ahead of me who maybe I didn't really need to push quite that hard or didn't need to follow quite that closely. And if I hadn't, then maybe I wouldn't have, because that's the thing right there. If I hadn't tried so hard to attack him to get past him, if I hadn't gotten past him, maybe I wouldn't have gotten third place. I wouldn't have gotten the podium, but I also wouldn't have lost fourth and dropped all the way back to seventh. So, you got to kind of weigh that, and very easily distracted, I think, by the availability of a podium there, not really considering the fact that, okay, if I do something stupid here and then go off, I'm actually going to, end up in a much worse position. So definitely some things to think about and to try and improve, but all in all, not a bad result. So got about half an hour till the next one. So again, we're going to be just kind of hanging out here until then. I need a little bit of a break and maybe get some lunch before the next race starts. So I'm gonna try and register for the session as soon as I can, just so that I'm set to go there and don't have to worry about it too much. But aside from that, yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna step away for a few minutes here and try and stuff my face a bit, and see you back in just about half an hour for the next race. In the meantime, of course, like I said, the stream is going to be live for most of the afternoon. Happy, drop in the comments, drop in the chat, ask some questions, anything like that. I may not necessarily be in the car, but we're going to keep the stream going, at least probably for the next couple hours. I'll do the 4 o'clock maybe a 5 and a 6. You know, depends on kind of how I'm feeling at that point. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in just about 30 minutes. So while we're sitting here waiting for the next race to start, I do want to just take an opportunity here. First things first, to just give a quick shout out and a real big thank you, honestly, to Jimmy Broadbent, who's been a big inspiration in part for why I decided to do this, and um, just kind of in racing and honestly in life in general. Been for those of you who don't know, I won't give you his story or anything like that. You really should see it for yourself or hear it for yourself or go experience him. But he's somebody who I found a lot of similarities to in my own life and life history and some of the things that I've had to deal with that it sounds like I think he has as well. And he's just one of those. He's just a really great guy and one of those people that basically, at least for me, watching him gives you that kind of feeling of, well, okay, you know what, he and I have gone through similar things, and if he can, get through it and come out the other side, and he can do something amazing and be happy and successful and do something that he loves, then there's really no reason I should be able to as well, I guess. So I do want to just say a heartfelt thank you to him for just really for doing what he does, and at least I can't speak for anybody else, but for the inspiration he's provided for me. But um, for anybody who doesn't know or who hasn't heard me talk about it just yet, a quick little just to kind of explain the whole concept here of racing therapy, without going into too much gory detail and taking up too much time. But long story short, I've been experiencing or been suffering from anxiety and a massive persistent depression since Just about probably, I think 9 or 10 years old I was diagnosed, so the better part of 20 years now. And for the longest time, really, it was completely untreated. I wasn't getting any therapy or any medication or anything like that. Self-medicating and trying to deal with it on my own, and not really very successful. Bouncing between kind of dead end jobs and shithole apartments and things like that. Um, but in the past few months, I've really started taking steps to kind of try to address my mental health and try to heal a little bit, and try to not conquer it, but or to move past it or to overcome it and to live with it a little bit and to just improve myself. And first, I will say for anyone else who's suffering from anything like that, anxiety, depression, any sort of mental health, anything, really, I encourage you guys to seek help or to find the resources that are available to you, because it really, it's not going to solve your problem. It's not going to fix it or make it go away, and certainly not immediately, but it is the first step, and it's sometimes the hardest to do, but it really is kind of necessary. But racing therapy, in short, is really just, number one, my kind of commitment to myself and giving me a reason to hop into iRacing and to try and stream maybe at least a little bit every day. Even if it's only 15, 20 minutes of practice, just do something every day. The concept called non-zero days, basically. Even if you don't do much, at least do something so that you didn't. Anything is better than nothing, basically. And racing therapy for me is just basically trying to find a way to take something I enjoy, something I have a lot of passion for, like racing, like sim racing, and use it as part of my healing process, and just in general, but B, more importantly, to try and learn lessons from it or take lessons from it while trying to improve my racing and my racecraft, and trying to take those lessons and apply them to the rest of my life and to the other issues that I'm facing. To try and contextualize it maybe into something that I understand or that I have a passion for, that I will perhaps take seriously. So just again, things like analyzing a race and basically just going, okay, these are the mistakes that I've made and this is how I can improve it. Even that is a great step for anyone, really, in that kind of position. Just trying to figure out, okay, what is holding me back, or what kind of mistakes am I making, and what do I need to do to improve, and how can I be better? And trying to just learn from it, basically. It always amazes me really how many racing lessons can actually be applied to a greater variety, or really wide variety of philosophies or life situations or problems, really. Just even simple things. Again, one of the biggest things I struggle with, and I think a lot of racers do, is vision. Not looking far enough up the track. A great lesson for racing, really, something you need to learn to get that last little bit of speed, to look far ahead, not just right in front of the car, but in life as well. Sometimes you really need to learn to look into the future, look beyond what's right in front of your nose. To sometimes be able to see the forest through the trees, so to speak. Things like that. Again, non-zero days, basically. Finish a race, even if it goes poorly, you get spun or you have an accident or you fall behind, whatever, you're a lap down. A DNF is better, or sorry, a last place is better than a DNF, and a DNF is better than a DNS. Anything is better than not doing it at all. So that's really just kind of the general concept here. I'm trying to find lessons, to improve my racing, but also just to try and improve my life, and really trying to take as much inspiration from it as I can to really try and like I said, to try and heal. Everybody, I mean, whether it's mental health or whatever it is you might be suffering from, everybody has a point in their life where they need to heal. And the first step to doing that is basically making the decision to allow yourself. And from there, though, it really goes to something my father used to say to my brother and I, especially when we were younger. And I always hated hearing it, and I hate quoting him now, but knowing and doing are two different things. Acknowledging that you have a problem or something needs to be addressed is one thing, and certainly an important step. But just knowing you have an issue or knowing you need to fix something is not enough. You actually need to put in the effort and do it. So again, that's part of this whole thing as well. It's just that commitment to do some racing, even a little bit every day, even if it's 15 or 20 minutes of practice, because it's so easy it's so easy to fall into that trap, that pattern of basically, not racing for a little while, losing, having the skill kind of degrade a little bit because you haven't been practicing, coming back to racing and getting frustrated because you're not, at the skill level you were before, then taking a longer break from racing because of that and losing the skill, having it degrade even more. It's a really easy downward spiral to get into. So just trying to break that as well by, again, just kind of forcing myself to do this, to take action, to do anything, to do something, anything that isn't nothing, anything that's not just sitting on the couch and watching YouTube or TV, or just being completely sedentary. You have to do something. You have to take some sort of action, and that's really the biggest takeaway that I'm trying to, or the biggest thing I'm trying to take away from this, I suppose, at least for right now. But let's see, we've got just shy of 20 minutes now, so the session, yes, indeed, should be open. So we'll go ahead and get registered for that. And again, we're just this series. I got to tell you, it's kicking my ass. It really is, especially with these new tires. I've really been struggling with them. But again, even that's part of it. It's basically just because you're struggling, just because it's hard, just because it's not going the way you want right away. It's all too easy to find excuses or justification to give up. Basically, at that point, to just to not try at all because it's it's never going to be good enough, or it's not good enough, or it's not perfect, or you don't think you're gonna you don't think you're adequate, so you don't try. But especially with racing, you're not going to improve if you don't practice. You're not going to get any better if you don't put in the work. And again, I mean, personally, that's something I definitely struggle with. In my own life, is basically, it's one thing to sit there and say, oh, I'm not happy with the way my life is going, or I'm not happy with this aspect of my life, or this thing that needs to change. But it's another to actually set out to put in the effort to try and to make that change, or to do something different or productive. You have to take a step. You have to start. At a certain point, you just have to start.
Radio check.
Spotter, radio check.
So, go ahead and got ourselves registered for the next race here for the 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. GMT, for those who might need time conversions. Once again, I'm not your mother. I'm not going to give you every single time zone. You've got GMT there. I think you guys can work from it. But it's just shy of or a little less than 20 minutes to go here. Don't know if I'm necessarily going to hop in and do practice again, because I actually do need to eat something. But just want to make sure that we're registered here, and so I can make sure we don't miss the next race, and at least maybe give you guys something a little bit more exciting to look at beyond just the
fastest lap for Fry, 43.9.
lovely slideshow that we've got going on here.
The leader's just done a 43.4.
The leader has just done a 43.0. New fastest lap for Fry, 43.0. Fastest lap for Fry, 42.3.
Well, while we're waiting for the race to get going here, I've been talking a lot today about the new tire model, and just the way that it's been the updates that they made to it, and the way it kind of acts, especially on the first two laps rather than as a whole. I'm interested in, it's one man's opinion, it's one man's perspective. I'm always interested to see, what other people are kind of thinking about it, and how other people feel about the new tire model, and if, maybe they're running the same experiences as I am, or maybe not. Again, I certainly think it still needs a little bit of work, and I don't think anyone would disagree with that, even, and especially the devs, but really, I think the biggest problem I've been having so far is, and I don't know if I'm alone in this, but it really is starting to show, I think, that I'm being too aggressive on the tires, and really need to start working on taking care of them a little bit more, particularly early in the stint, to get them up to temperature and the working range. And again, part of that is just the fact that they definitely don't condition as quickly as they're meant to, but it really, I think a lot of it is just coming down to showing really that it's going to start becoming very, really important to, as a driver's skill base, and that people are going to have to start putting a lot more effort into it. I think it's just, taking care of the tires and just being aware of them really in general, just being, cognizant of how they work, what kind of state they're in, what you're doing to them at the time, things like that. So, we'll hop in and do a little bit of warm up here, a little bit of practice, and just really, it's something that's my biggest focus in terms of you know, not so much racing therapy, but just racing in general, and really getting. I'm trying to avoid bad puns, but really just getting back up to speed with the Formula 3 car and the new tires, the new compound that's on here, and the way that it behaves. So, I mean, the advice most I've seen from Formula racing is you really need to push them from the beginning to get them working. And it's kind of that catch-22 because you need to push the tires to get them to work, but you don't want to push them too hard, too quickly, because at least for me, I don't have the confidence that they're working. So, and I think actually that might be a decent part of the issue as well. That basically, it may be that I'm driving too aggressively. It may be that I'm actually not necessarily driving aggressively enough, at least at the beginning. That maybe I'm taking it a little too easy. I'm being a little too over cautious, over protective of the tires, and not really allowing them to scrub in properly. The best thing you see, it's at least for me, and I won't really put too much blame on anything aside from my own driving it, but at least for me, it's still, I think, a little too easy to do exactly that, basically. On a first or second lap, to go just a little bit over the limit, and these tires seem to be rather unforgiving when they're cold. They really are, as best I can tell, much closer to a real-world slick. How they actually would behave. And I think a big part of the problem really is just something that we really haven't had to deal with terribly much up until this point. So it's, for those of us who basically never really did any multiplayer R2 racing, anything like that, perhaps it's just something that like a skill that I really haven't had to develop, or haven't really bothered to develop just, too much until now. And again, especially the biggest for me, the biggest place to see it for me is, in these 2-lap qualifiers, where I'm seeing qualifying times that, I'm being beaten by qualifying times that I know I can and have actually beaten myself. I can get down into the mid-41s, but not on a second flying lap. It's taking me a lot longer to get up to that kind of speed. And again, the fact that I'm seeing these times being posted means it's clearly possible. It's doable. You can go at that kind of pace on what I'm assuming is their second flying lap at least, but still, it's doable. It can be done. I'm struggling to do so. I'm struggling. And so it's really something that I think I really need to work on, and especially this being a fixed series. You can't really. There's really not much else to blame other than the driver. Everybody's in the same car, the same setup. Any difference is down to the driver. It really is. And so that's. That's part of the lesson there that really everybody has to learn at a certain point in their careers and racing, or just really in their life in general, is to basically take responsibility for your own shortcomings and mistakes, and instead of looking for that, it's clearly the tire's fault that I can't get them up quickly enough, or I'm not getting the speed quickly enough. Again, I think a little bit of it has to be the tire setting. They definitely don't condition as quickly as they should, which is why we have tire buckets to try and ameliorate that issue a little bit, basically simulate a warm-up lap that we don't really wouldn't otherwise get. But that's not it. That's not all of it. Again, it's clearly the tire model still needs a little bit of work. There are people who clearly can extract much more time out of it much more quickly than I can. So the problem is not the tire. The problem is me. And sometimes that can be the hardest thing to do in any situation like this. Nope, I can't blame anybody else. Like, no, this is my fault. This is my issue. I'm the cause of this. And it's something, that you just have to, everybody has to kind of overcome at a certain point in their lives. It's really just taking responsibility and just going, okay, what am I doing wrong? What can I do better? What role do I have to play in this? Similar to, when, if you have an accident or a crash or something like that. I mean, a perfect example is, it wasn't a crash, luckily. I didn't crash into anybody else, luckily. Me going off towards the end of the last race there and fourth position, so that I didn't rear end a lap car here at Druids. It's all too easy to get upset and to blame the other driver. If he hadn't been there, then I would have been fourth, or maybe I could even fought for third and gotten on a podium. But again, he has as much right to the line as I did, and he's not the one who made a mistake and went off track. I was. You can't be mad at the other driver for a mistake that he made. It almost always takes two people to have a crash. I also just, again, I think part of the fun is that I kind of overdrive the car. Most especially, I think, on the first couple of laps, or at least it's most noticeable, I guess, on the first couple of laps. But, I think the biggest thing I'm really noticing this season as opposed to last is that it's, again, some parts of my driving style that need some work, they need to be adjusted. Not certain what's happened, my caps are really just gone. But so I'm talking that black box, the Irish black box over. So I have some sort of relative marker. Yeah, not really part of the stream necessarily, but just in general. Biggest pet peeves in iRacing is do not use the relative box. You don't keep it up and you don't keep it open. Die on it. I feel like there's so many times you see somebody just doing their game, just skipping the race, and they go off and come back on the track right in front of an oncoming driver with a T-bone or something like that. And most of the time, they're not. It's not always easy to see out of the cockpit if another car is coming up the track, especially if you're off. But that's what the relative box is for. It'll tell you who's close and how you have time to safely get into the track or not. So again, I will just point out, because I have heard a few comments about it in the past, I do always keep the black box relatively open on my screen. I don't generally use the iRacing black box because I do have the caps overlays, which provide one as well. But again, as soon as that goes down, I'm bringing up the iRacing because my general rule is basically, unless I am in a solo test session, or basically unless for some reason I am the only car on track, I will always have a black box open. So, as it turns out, my caps went away because my trial just ended. Fabulous. Alrighty. Well, hang on. Alrighty, slight tactical hiccup here. May have to live it out for the race. Okay, apparently the biggest problem here is that I am silly and cannot figure out how to subscribe. Well, maybe I can't use my Twitch Prime to subscribe. Well, fair enough. For the utility that I get from caps, I'll happily donate. For its use. And I'm losing my qualifying time here to do this, but well, unless I need it for qualifying anyway. Go ahead and get rid of that. Try something a little bit different for this qualifying session. Instead of doing the leading and scrubbing, I'm just going to basically give it an outline. See if that's any better. See if it doesn't. But it's alright. Time to lap first, as always. Let's see how it goes. Get off that inside curb. Spot on the grid at least. That's don't qualify. It's fine. We got 42 seconds. And instead of focusing on my braking zone, I was thinking about what the banker lap qualifying time is going to be. Focus. This one's really good. 45. Not by much. That's alright. So 11th out of 14, or car 11 out of 14, qualified 7th. try to very quickly finish my payment to Caps here. So I can get my overlays back. Good. Okay, I believe. Yes, we are back. Wonderful. Wonderful, 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 because that actually would have kind of sucked. I do like my Caps overlays. I do very much like my Caps overlays. Not least of which because they actually include a rudimentary tire monitor. It's not perfect, just because iRacing does not release that data live. So it unfortunately is a bit delayed. It's, you know, about as good as it's going to get, really, but it's better than nothing. And it's nice to have at least some idea of general tire temperatures and all that kind of stuff. But especially with this, what's it called, with the new tire models.
Radio check.
Spotter, radio check.
Alrighty, so getting ready on the grid here. I'm getting ready to get on the grid here. Again, not really certain if it actually makes a difference to weight. I always feel like I should wait just a little bit because, you know, right now, like, we've got the tire warmers. Heat seems to be, at least starting heat seems to be a big factor in the performance of the tires. So, for whatever it's worth, to not spend an extra 60, 90 seconds sitting on the grid, having the tires cool off, I guess, it makes me feel better at least. I don't know if it actually has any real impact or not. Alrighty, but again, so here we are on the grid, qualified 7th out of 14. Not too terrible, not great, but we'll see how we do where we finish up here. Again, I mean, if I can at least you know, finish in the top half again, I'll be happy with hopefully get in the podium.
The track temp is 42 Celsius, 7th position. The air temp is 26 Celsius, 10 minutes. You'll need to get on with this.
Yes,
Okay, Zach, let's get this right. No fuck-ups. You need to close the gap to the guy ahead.
Hello? What is happening? What the fuck was that? Not certain what the hell that was all about, but whatever.
Go. Blue flag.
Oh, come on! Really, dude? immediately just comes right in. Awesome. Fantabulous. Absolutely amazing. Oops. Whoa. I spoke to my wrong camera. So what in the hell happened? Yeah, had no idea there was a car next to him and just... Yep, and that's the one who then just, you know, is getting mad at me. It's not even worth responding to. Literally unbelievable. And of course, in such a short race, not a lot of time to make up for it. What a moron.
The leader has just done a 41.5.
Absolute moron. Literally on the opening lap, there's people all around you, and you just decide that, you know, you're not even going to look. Again, you don't have a relative box or something to tell you that there's a car right next to you, or even just good common sense maybe, but fine, whatever.
Car approaching, watch your mirrors. V12.
Alright then. But mine is not focused on what's going wrong. Try not to focus on negatives, try to just look forward to the future and how we're going to make up, how we're going to fix it. And do that by just staying clean and calm.
There's an incident in clear ways.
Trying to at least unlap ourselves here maybe.
There's an incident in Graham Hill Bend.
It's alright, it's alright, it's alright.
P11.
Short race like this, it's still far from over. It's still fun to at least one or two more relationships there. Other crashes or retirements.
Blue flag. Blue flag.
Right now, we're not even looking at this. I'm not looking at behind. I'm not focusing on it. Focus forward, eyes up. far behind he is actually racing.
Blue flag. B11.
I want to keep thinking about how stupid that guy was and this and that. That's when I start thinking back to the old days of Pokemon Professor Oak. Anybody who remembers trying to use the bicycle inside or use a key item when you're not supposed to. Get a message from Oak. Now is not the time for that.
Car left,
Jesus.
clear left. Car right. On your left. Clear left.
I'm really sorry, guy. I was trying not to come into you, but it slowed up much more than I was expecting. Just fully locked up there trying to avoid contact. After trying to keep an eye on
Blue flag. The guy behind's reeling you in. The gap's now 4.5.
So I can send him an apology because I really do feel bad about something like that. I could not to hit him. He's a lap ahead of me. Like I'm not fighting for the position. I really feel bad about affecting his race like that. So I'll have to try and was that Costa? Actually, I'm not certain who that was. I'm trying to figure it out. That's what apologize.
Left side. Clear left.
Blue flag. Incident in Surtees.
Speed 3 trying to catch 1 and 2.
Incident in McLaren.
Up ahead of it. We're not ahead of it by much.
2 minutes to go. 2 minutes.
Give him a shot. That's how you get to it. Not, suddenly pulling off the line or something like that. Go right up behind him, just lift off good speed differential, so it's 1.5. Still not doing great that well. It's the confidence, it's just I don't trust the car. I feel like I don't trust
There's an incident in Clearways.
really pitch it in the way I was, last season.
Yellow flag. Watch out.
A couple more minutes here. Maybe have a chance at catching 10th? Maybe? Really not how I wanted to see. I need to turn in soon. Turning in a little late. Not how I really wanted this to go. To be honest.